Bismillah, in the name of my creator, I start recording. I have no plan, but I have a subject, and I hope because I'm being bombarded by life voices, not demons anymore. So there is no time to plan and about this video, what I'm gonna say and what I'm gonna cover. You know, as you know, as usual, like preface, the case, supporting details, conclusion. That's it. So the topic is it's about the black race and the devil and Iblis and Satan and and uh, and, uh, and the danger that they cause and the lack of brain and humanity as non-human beings according to logic and according to the scriptures by the creator, where he said I have created jinn and ins, I have created jinn and humans, and he states, so there is a difference between a jinn and a human. So a jinn is not human, just like the British encyclopedia pointed that blacks are above apes and below humans, but it was deleted from history. And as you know, guys, these days the word negro, I mean, cannot be used, which was used by Negroes. It's a racist slur. So this is a story I'm gonna be try short, and may God help me to tell you what I'm gonna talk about, and you understand the point of this, that and also that the relationship between Jews and niggers. I don't know. I hope this is not YouTube. This is YouTube. And if you're gonna be offended when you calling me a racist, then how come there is a country called Nigeria, Niger, Nigeria? So come on, you have to wipe these countries or change their names. You just call on us because the damage is done to the world, where God is fed up. I hope it's God with this nonsense of Corona, because that is the relationship between Jews and niggers and why they exist and how come they did not even live accordingly or like animals, defend themselves, at least prosper, do something about it. And they have a continent in Africa. It's full of natural resources, uranium, gold, blah, 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 diamond, all of this. And then nothing has happened in this continent. Maybe they're not stupid. They have no brains, because stupid is a good term, Stupid is less than, harsh than moron. And as one of the philosophers says, if you don't do stupid things when you are young, what are you gonna laugh about when you get old? So it's not, they have no brains. So, and as their creator, you can Google Quran. It's a book of knowledge, just like the Bible. It's a copy of Revelations, and how he described them as non-human, and that if they get killed, that they deserve half compensation of money, as a human being. And if a black man commits a crime, he should face half the consequences, or as a human being, because he's not a human. So this is in Quran. It's not me. You can Google it. Google is everywhere. You can listen to it. You can read it. It's in English. It's in every language. So this is the creator, the maker of these people who say they're okay. He agrees with the British encyclopedia or with the common sense, with history, that these are, and he's honest and frank about it. And he's saying that you should treat these people less than human, half. So the problem is that there is no devil except the black man, because the black man have been used by Jews because the black man cannot help himself throughout history. Trillions of years or thousands or whatever you want to call it. And even those who came to their continent, whether it's whites, whether it's Arabs, whether it's Chinese, whether it's Indians, and these people cannot help themselves. I mean, they're not even good as to defend themselves like animals, wild animals. So they were abused and used, and they're and I don't want to mention how greatly the United States police treat them and shoot them. It's not racist. It's these people who are suspicious under the law and they don't abide. And this is a civil country and they have just abide by it. And so they get shot because they have no brain. Because whenever if you are under suspicion by authorities and they talk to you, we want to talk to you, stop. You don't argue. You just work it out. So these people get killed, and we have always seen it that American police, say we're racist. They kill, and I've been defending these people 10 years on the internet and chat programs. So one of them is Paltalk, which is a bad program. Paltalk, and I've been defending them. I've been loving them. I did all but actually they are the great danger to humanity, and as logic and nowadays in history explain it, and they cannot even defend themselves or live like animals, at least not. I mean, they're too much domesticated. I mean, get out of here. So the story of the devil, it's a devil, shaitan, and he's a black man. If you want to work it, I hope, may God help me, the creator help me tell you the point of this, that since he created them less than human have, with no brains, and been describing that the devil seduced Adam, and he got him out of heaven. It was a metaphor from God, from Allah, or Allah, the guy who same God, but Allah of all pain and pleasure. So it was a metaphor. I believe there is I don't know if there, but it was a metaphor from God to tell us that how he seduced Adam to get him out of heaven until the end. That now, me, Nasser, I see it now, and I've been a victim of this under hearing voices more than 15 years. And now, with God will and with how the Israelis rise, with God will, because God said, "Oh, people of Israel, you will rise and corrupt twice." So these people have, the Israelis have exposed the relationship between Jews and blacks. And how do we know that these people are evil and Satan? Because God said, Satan or Iblis whispered to Adam. He whispered to him, he seduced him. As you guys know, eat from the tree of knowledge. It's not tree of knowledge. Yeah, so the point of God, the creator, he said, okay, this is the guy, this is Adam, this is a human, this is Iblis, Satan, or whatever you want to call it. And there is only the one communication way between these two things is voice. And he said that he can see you and you cannot see him, but his voice is enemy. He's a clear enemy. So in short, I was under satanic rituals, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it, sorcery, by a Saudi prince 15 years ago because of misunderstanding. So, but these people are Arab Jews and are filth of Arabs and Arab Jews, and shows you the hatred. This is a reaction of a human, so it's called a human being, because of a misunderstanding happened between you and him. He make your life miserable, and it's known in Africa. I mean, African blacks will agree with me. Yeah, it's known. You just make people's life miserable. voices. And that time I was saying, we always believed in the demons, devils, these other creatures. I could not help it, but I lived through. I struggled, did make my life miserable, but in the past 2 years, orders came from Saudi Arabia with the last king, who's going to be the last king. And he is the last king, King Salman. As maybe as God even mock him and deceive him, and he say Sulaiman, because sometimes I don't believe that. Also, as I told you, that there was no Satan, there was no Sulaiman, King Sulaiman. It's actually King Salman of Saudi Arabia now, currently, 2021 now as I speak, because he's a god and he's a deceiver and he's the best deceiver and mocker and whatever you want to call it. He's greater. As he called himself, Allahu Akbar, because he's greater. He's not the greatest, because if you call yourself a greatest, he's greater than that. So to be short in this, the Israelis, they were orders from Saudi Arabia, because I was retired 10 years ago because of the hearing voices and diagnosed with mental disorder. As usual, I have a friend from Norway, Robert. I hope he can see this, and I say, God bless you, man. You will be rewarded, and I will see you in heaven for this, and it's been done by saddest governments. Actually, it's the Saudis and Israelis. But the Israelis are really in trouble because of the Saudis now, and so they have to go together, because they did not respect themselves or their elites or whatever you want, the good Jews. So they ended up with this bad apple of Jews, the Saudis, Arab Jews. So the Israelis kind of showed me by time that these voices are for, I'm sorry about this, these voices are for real. And as been told, and being advised on internet, or many, if somebody complains about hearing voices, they will say, what these voices say to you? And sadly, that, or actually, it's not sadly, actually, what happened less than 10 years ago, there is a British, and he's still alive, Alan Parsons Project, Alan Parsons. He's a magician, and how they manipulated the world of magician. Magicians are bad. Magicians who take a hair, or one hair of the victims, and so they blow satanic rituals, and suddenly the victim hear voices all the time, and many commit suicide. Children, fathers, mothers, girls, babies, they just commit suicide. And how it was manipulated in the 20th century, that all these voices of God, and they've been labeled as schizophrenic and mental, blah 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 blah, because because God is talking to the Jews, he was not talking about the Jews. He was saying the Jews are the worst enemy of believers, but he was respecting the Israelis, as in the Bible, the promised land. But you see how God is fair. Allah, he's saying, oh, children of Israel, you will have your promised land, and you will rise up. And he did not say Jews. He described the Jews as cruel hearts, and how they have cruel hearts, even more cruel than rocks, where rocks can be shaped by running water, and they are really enemies. You have to work this out, but what's the relationship between the Saudis and the Israelis? But it's clearly that God, when God is saying, he's not labeling the Saudis, but he's saying the Jews. And the Saudis, they expose themselves as the Arab Jews who were preceding Jesus in so-called Saudi Arabia, Arabian Peninsula, and how they get rid of Jesus. And it's not the Saudis, but I'm saying this is the history of Jews and how they tried to get rid of the last prophet. There was a conflict, and how will they corrupt. And you can find this also in the Quran, in the second chapter, where God in the first 6 verses talk about common sense. Oh, believers, you followers Muhammad, don't you get so excited, he's a prophet, just like preceded prophets, Jesus, whatever, Moses, and others. So believe in him. Don't get overexcited. And then he starts how those who reject, those who arrogance, from verse 6 until 20 in the calf chapter. And it's totally, after all these years, more than a decade, and I've been a victim, it's clearly, God's talking about the Saudis. He's not talking about the Israelis. He's not talking about the Rockefellers. I don't know if they do. They mess up the other world, but you cannot find a good argument to hold them accountable. But the Saudis are really clear enemies. Like they sent throughout their embassies, the preachers of hate, telling those populations in their countries that only the saved people are those who follow the last prophet. And it doesn't make sense. It's like Jesus failed, Moses failed. So these are really who differentiate between prophets and messengers, are really the bad ones, are really the rejectors. And the real and those who reject being decent and humble, as being explained by our brothers who followers of Jesus. We learn, regardless, I'm not religious. And decent, humble by a song, Tim McGraw. Just be decent and humble. That's it. That's what God said. Be decent and humble, because there are no prophets in Asia. And there are no devils and Satan and blah, blah, blah in Asia. Whether you want to talk about India or China, or how Japan clearly showed the world. Especially, I don't know if it was 19th century, but in the early 20th century, and they kicked the United States. Come on, guys. It's your century. In Pearl Harbor attack. And the Americans bombed them with a atomic bomb, and they became the second largest or most, richest or largest economy in the world. So it's not Asia. So Asia gives us a proof that there is no devil. And you don't have to go all the way loving God and being religious maniac and obsessed with religion. So this is half of the world. You have a billion and a half, and almost half of the population of the world they don't know anything about God or Satan or the devil or Satan. But on the other hemisphere, we have the Christians, the followers of maybe Jews, good Jews. Yeah, there are good Jews, of course. So because to be fair, yeah, and followers of Jesus and followers of Muhammad and decent people who don't practice religion, and how it's end up and go to the point where is that the Israelis, they just exposed it to me, and it's being used, and this aggressive and heinous monarchy in Saudi Arabia, and it's actually I believe it's the only absolute monarchy on this planet, and it's a shame that they exist now, and it's a shame that they brag about how not under the table by sending preachers of hate, or how they invaded their neighbors, or how they showed the world, or how humane they are by killing one of their citizens who sought refuge in the United States, but he was choked to death, cut into pieces, burned her body, melt his body. Saudi Arabia brag about it and defies the whole world and defies America, United States, whether it's the president who lost the second term because he said it's a rude. He want to cooperate. He said, I don't know, because he ask Americans about this. That's why Trump lost, but he lost because he did not stand up against this. He said maybe these guys, the Saudis, went up with the Israelis after Khashoggi murder, and how the previous commander or chief of Saudi intelligence, he said the CIA is not trustworthy to investigate a murder like this. Turki Faisal, the son of the murdered king of Saudi Arabia in the 70s. And they threatened the Congress. Nobody talked. I remember, what is his name? Lindsey Graham, who said, Saudi Arabia, if you're listening, this is a crazy guy. And he's covered by his papa. And as Erdogan, he say, come on, King Salman, What is this? If it's your son, you have to. And actually, it's King Salman, or so-called Suleiman in the scriptures. And how the Israelis expose it. This guy is very demanding and aggressive, and he started with his own family, King Salman. You know this, and how they brought, not even this guy, MB, I'm sorry, I have to call him MB shit, Mohammed bin Salman. And this guy was planned even on the days of the previous King Abdullah. There is a video on YouTube, he say, Abdullah saying, you will lead your country. I mean, it's disgusting, it's absolute monarchy, and doing this, and and they want to continue for another 50 years. I mean, that's why there is Corona. That's why this nonsense is happening. It doesn't make sense. That's it. God has intervened. So the Israelis, yeah, there were orders from Saudi Arabia, Israelis, because I was living in Thailand as a retired person, because I was, diagnosed with mental illness 2009. And 2015, I took my luggage and I said, I'm going to retire in Thailand. I'd rather go to hell, not stay in this country, Saudi Arabia. There is no future. Anyway, so the orders came as the King Abdullah died, and King Salman came, and were orders, the Israelis get him from Thailand like a dog and ban him 5 years and bring him back to Saudi Arabia. He's a very demanding, and he wants the Saudis to go. And maybe there is suspicion that these Saudis will be talking freely. So even there are more than, at least from more than 3 million Saudis are banned from traveling outside the Saudi Arabia. More than 3 million Saudis cannot leave their country, because this is an aggressive king, and he's the last king. God is fed up with this, and as they showed the Saudis, they brought this guy who's a crazy guy, and who disobeyed his mother, and he was raised by a Jew flasher nigger mom. So he's cruel. That shows you how cruel these people, that guy is, and his father is worse. This family are really filthy Arab Jews. They are really have to go. They are bad. They are arrogant. They cannot be decent and humble. They cannot be nice. Even ask the rulers of their neighboring countries, the Gulf states, or ask, you wanna clear anything? You wanna clear evidence after they invaded Yemen? The poorest, humble, decent Arabs ever. Those who spread the message of Muhammad, the Prophet, treat people nicely in Asia. That's how Asians became so-called followers of Muhammad, so-called Muslims, because it's a political term. Because Islam is one religion, it's one God, many civil activists or messengers or prophets. Some of them, God is so smart, and in Asia he did not have to. So Buddha was a messenger, of course, because it's clear, as he say. So it shows you that it's a way of life, but it's actually more confusing in the Middle East and in the Western Hemisphere of followers of Jesus, of prophets, where it's more easy in Asia. You are God, and everybody is a God. You have to respect yourself, and buy time. If you are young, it takes time. It's not easy, and you have to respect yourself. Everybody, it's not me. Go ask. There is a great philosopher I have to mention in this. His name Alan Watts, ALANWATTZ. This guy is a treasure. This guy is an eye-opener. This guy is a reliever for those who follow religious, followers of, or practice religion, or followers of messengers, let's say Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, who are really, because this guy must, they should educate they should put his mind and efforts into books. And it's gonna happen after God gets rid of the Saudis and Israelis. Actually, the Israelis are stupid, because they kept their mouth shut. It's not a big deal, because everybody knows that the Israelis are ungrateful. Ask the Brits and the French and whatever who died, or Americans who died for their sake. So, and at the end of the day, the Arab Spring and those who revoke revolutions in the Middle East because of oppression, it was done by the Saudis. And the Saudis say, come on, Netanyahu, we will join you. So after God will get rid of the Saudis and Israelis, it's going to be a great future. I hope. This is I promise you. I hope it's not the day of resurrection. I hope it's not where the sun comes from the west. I hope it's not the end of the world. I hope so. But I hope so. It's scary because the world is overpopulated. But if there is a chance, the world will be a better place to live and prosper and survive, and no fear and no. Just to let you know that all I care about is those victims of satanic rituals, the black people, who were exposed as by the Israelis, that they are the devil and they are the Satan, and the voices, that real voices. There are no demons. And the Saudi, so after they got me from Thailand and banned me from coming, I could from Thailand to Saudi Arabia. So in Bahrain, I switched airplanes because I stopped in Bahrain, and I went back to Asia. And so there was another arrangement to get me in Malaysia, because I voiced my opinion out on the internet, how I was mistreated, and with the line of respect between the Saudi families and the monarchy, there is no respect. And they're doing such heinous things. Like I told you, I was a victim of satanic rituals by a member, not even a royal member, a prince, by 15 years. Shows you this is the reaction of a human being. And this, imagine, he did not even kill me. He did not send people to hit me. He did not set me up. He did not anything. He made my life miserable. So this, if you can imagine the reaction of this human being. Of course, he's Jew, and he is cruel hearts, and it's got clearly that these are really, and it was okay. So Nasser did not learn the lesson to go back to Saudi Arabia, where it was a 10-year non-ban from traveling outside, which is I could not take it. Who stayed that in country? Crazy. Nobody, unless you have to stay in that country. I mean, I'd rather stay in hell. I've never seen hell, but it's better than. It's my homeland. And even if the Saudis go today, I will never go. And I hope my corpse do. And it's the damage is done beyond belief. It's the people lost their morals, lost their values. You need to wipe them off, or you need another 50, 100 years for those who live in so-called Saudi Arabia in order to be humans. I mean, they lack saying, excuse me, they lack saying, thank you. They lost their morals, they lost their values. The damage is beyond belief. And even this guy who's ambitious, the crown prince who stepped on the house of God in Mecca, he stepped on it. He said, I am Muhammad, son of Salman. Screw you, Prophet Muhammad. I am. My name is Muhammad. This is a revenge. As God say, they are sick-hearted, disease-hearted. So they fulfill their sick heart and how they oppressed and destroy their own people. And you don't want to talk about how they mess up the whole Arabian countries, or internationally how they spread hate. So they said, screw Muhammad ibn Abdullah, son of Abdullah, the Prophet. I am Muhammad, and say me your name. And they fulfilled their dream. This is God's plan. I think so, and I'm sure. Why would a guy go on such a sacred place? This is intentionally done. And if you know the Saudis, many people, if you are aware, it's the richest country on the planet. They make $1 billion a day from oil export, and it's the poorest among the Gulf states. And then people, in spite of them losing their morals, blah blah blah, I mean, they sell their bodies for sex. I mean, some of the ladies there saying, What do you want? You want my boy or you want my girl? So it is a complicated thing, but you can understand it from the Quran, which is a book of knowledge. And it's clear. And you don't have to read the book. You just stay with your mobile and listen to internet, Quran recitation in English or whatever. You will understand everything. This is the big boss, the creator, and his manuals. So after the Israelis, in Malaysia, I was set up because I voiced my opinion in Thailand and some in Bahrain and Indonesia. So the Saudi family got pissed off because I insulted them personally. So they said, put him in jail. And I was put in 6 months on a charge of selling drugs. Who imagine a guy from Gulf states, 50 years old, sell drugs in Malaysia? And anyway, after 6 months, the Saudi embassy, 2 guys came in and they got me out of jail. They said, Nasser, you don't get it. We put you in jail, Benjara, some guy blue. We took you out. And today is Monday, and Friday there is an airplane coming from Saudi Arabia. I believe it was July 2020. You have to go. And by Thursday I said, no, I'm not gonna go. If you have an international warrant arrest, otherwise kidnap me. So I'm facing the consequences of how the Israelis, they were asked by the Saudis in Jordan to assault me, and these voices have become real that, stupid Arab. I mean, this guy bothering me 15 years of Arabic voices. And now they're saying stupid Arab and stupid gay. You see how, so you have to understand that there is no, and that Satan is a bad, and he's after the evil things and sexuality and blah, 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 and gayness. So these voices have been with me, and now, as I speak now, it's about 2 years, and it's terrible life. I am sorry, I cannot save it, but I will live, and I will die and come back again just to get rid of the Saudi government. It's not about Israel. Israel has the right to exist, but it's too late, I think so, because it's very close in Syria. It's stupid. They would just install a government instead of Bashar, instead of destroying that country. So anyway, we're not talking about Israel. It's not my issue. I'm talking about my issue because I have no problem. I pray for Israel to survive. I pray. I wish they can survive or can be saved from the Saudis. So what happened is that these voices, so I refused to go back to Saudi Arabia. So I lived here in Malaysia. And now we're talking about, this is January 2021. And these voices, real, disgusting. And no, I only have rest when I fall asleep. That's my life. When they be saying stupid Arab, stupid gay, stupid Khalid, stupid. So you understand that this evil, I told you, there is no devil and there is no Satan and Shaitan. Actually, that was the metaphor I told you about in the beginning, if you are following, that who seduced Adam. It was a metaphor. Because this guy across the sea. There is no good, there is no Satan, there is no Lucifer, there is nothing. Even the great, white man who have a TV show on Lucifer, there is no Lucifer. Whether you like it this way or you like it by the Asian way, they don't believe in God, they don't believe in Lucifer, they don't believe in Shaitan or Satan. So we understand, maybe I'm talking too much now, it's over 34 minutes. Thank you for being patient, and I hope I'm making sense. So we understand now that these creatures, the black people, Africans, were created actually for a reason, to be used by the Jews and the bad Jews, the Saudis. And the Israelis, there are bad guys, bad white guys. They do horrible things with animals and porn sites on the internet, but at least they show it to you. And one of them was Alan Parsons, who said, I can read your mind. Just go on YouTube and type, I can read your mind, Alan, and you will hear this disgusting human being who's a superstar and alive now, but it's not personally his case. This is show you how these people, the Israelis, are really, as God said, you will rise and corrupt. gave them. You say, I can read your mind. And these voices are real, and it's disgusting. Anyway, when this regime, I believe I don't know, the Israelis, if they can kill me, I hope so, because they're so powerful. They show me how powerful they are in Thailand. I was shocked. I mean, they ignite wars. Vietnam, Iraq, you name it. Blah, blah, blah. They kill presidents. I'm nothing. So if they want to get rid of me, get rid of me. But I mean, the last time I saw an Israeli, it was in Thailand. They say, Nasser, good luck. We love you, stupid Arab boy. At least they were more decent than the stupid Saudis. That's stupid, dumb. Because who uses these niggers, black people? The Saudis. And imagine the mentality of, wow, Jews should be smart. What the hell are they doing with these dumb people who have no brain? And in Saudi Arabia, it's different. I'm not talking about Jews are bad. I'm talking about those really, the relationship and the bad between the Jews and black people. That in Saudi Arabia, the royal family, 15,000, all their servants who work for them and serve them, black people, Africans. So it shows you at the end of the day now, as I have been insulted every day, and it shows us how pathetic the Saudis. And I came in on the internet, but they prevent me from going on Twitter, on YouTube, because YouTube, and many, everything, I'm being blocked, my account's been suspended, but I managed to get on, and so at least people in Saudi Arabia, my family and people say, we understand all this, because they play it under the table, disgusting, And what happened is that as I've been insulted, I'm not saying I'm a favorite creation of God. No, I'm just telling you my story with life, my life, my story. 50 years with the Saudis, who are disgusting and arrogant for nothing, and 15 years part of this heinous aggression and reaction of a member of the royal family, and this is now it's the king and his son, and I don't think God will allow Saudi Arabia to exist anymore, whether you like it or not. And that's I'm sure. And imagine this guy, another 50 years, no way. And this is coming now. And let's hope God is merciful that He's given us a sign. If there is some guy, and there are no bad and worse than the Saudis. They are double-faced hypocrites. You don't see the Israelis are hypocrites. So you see, the worst of the worst creation ever that was created and will last until the end of the day, the Saudis, because they are double-faced. And according to his book of knowledge, Quran, it's a shame to be double-faced. Be sure you are a man, you're not even a man. According to dictators like Bashar al-Assad, he said the Saudis are not even men, they are males. They look like. And these people who will go to hell, Bashar, because he's killing people, and Putin, but at least they're not in the basement and the filth. At least these people are going saying, okay, we will go to hell. They are tough. Not this guy sick who's pretending to be a Muslim and he's actually the enemy of all believers around the world, all people, all decent people. And they should be ashamed. And actually, it's a shame now on the international community to deal with the Saudis or even respect them. I mean, the last good country I know is maybe it's Canada, because they just voiced it. So look how it happened to Canada. Look, this is the world. Let's hope God want to correct this by get rid of the Saudis. I don't think so, because the damage is also on the other side of the world. Who's going to pay? What about the victims who were murdered in the 20th century and now still are murdered and bombed and killed? Now neighboring Israel and the Saudis in Yemen. Who's killing? So the punishment is coming. I think it's the end. I hope Because there is, what do you think? You think there is an awakening that we're gonna fix what happened? No, it's too late. I think this is the end. I think the end is coming. And I dare you. It's scary, this COVID-19 and lockdowns getting worse. And people and governments cannot stop it. It's so scary that I was saying, is this a stupid Saudi idea so they can, whitewash, so they make this following, after the heinous reputation of Saudi Arabia, Murda Khashoggi, forget about proxy wars. So they're gonna just, lie to the world, and so they can, this new stupid, heinous, bad son of King Salman will rule for the next 50 years. It doesn't make sense. It's a shame on God to let them happen. I mean, they fulfilled their sick hearts, so it's a shame on God if he let it happen. And then whether it's the name of his sacred house, Kaaba, you want to know it, or they want to people who are killed in Yemen, or those who you want to call damaged beyond belief, and God should stop it. God, if there is Allah, should stop it, and Allah will do it. And this is a message, I will say it in front of God, and I don't care. Because God created us and insisted that we speak honestly, the truth, whether it's about ourselves or our parents. And I have to say it, God, you have to stop. Do something about it. How come there are revolutions in the Arab Spring? How come dictators, lost it in Egypt and Syria and Libya, and how come you get rid of the Saudis, God, in the name of you? If you have self-respect, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm just, this is my message, and I promise myself to say it in front of Allah. This is me, Nasser, and I say it, Allah, you have to stop it. Get rid of the Saudis. I don't want saying get rid of the world. It's easy. Like you did it in the Arab Spring. How come Gaddafi lost it? Mubarak, Egypt, Syria, blah, blah, blah. Yemen, Tunis, Ceausescu, whatever. So the message is that we're talking about, this is a conclusion. It's almost 45 minutes. Jesus, I've been talking all this time. I did not give you a break. You can, whenever, somebody make a comment after this, you have to stop it after 10, 15 minutes and get a drink, come back and listen to the end. So the end, there is no shaitan, and God created the black people, Africans, as less than humans, and they were abused. So I'm not saying kill them, even though I'm saying if the regimes who use them, abuse them, so-called Jews and blacks and niggers, if this regime is gone, so it's okay. I mean, there is no Satan, and it's a relief to the world. So Satan is the Saudis, and Suleiman is Salman, and blacks. I'm not saying five blacks, because blacks, God is fair. I'm not saying kill them. I'm just telling you my life story. And I'm not saying blacks are the most decent. I lived with them in jail, in one of the rooms in jail in Banjara. You see, blacks, I tell you, son, honestly, no suspicions, and what do you call it, run, no guessing, and no second thoughts. I stayed with blacks in a cell room. They're easy, and they're different. They are the best to live with. They have no inside heart feelings, never. Because they, and they're funny, and you see, so I'm not saying they're greatest, greats, I love them, it's okay, but I'm saying this is my story, and I have to say it. These Saudis cannot stop, and they following with these voices, stupid Arabs, stupid faggots, stupid Khamis. So it's Satan that seduce people and tell people to do adultery, blah, blah. It's the get rid of the Saudis. This is the point of Allah, to get rid of bin Saud. So this is the point. I hope I made myself clear, and good luck. Thank you.